As usual, thank you guys for being here. We are a couple days into preparation for South Florida, and uh, they have a very good team. They can score. They score a lot of points, and very athletic. New head coach, offensive minded guy, and very bright and well coached team. Very veteran defensive coordinator, who was a defensive coordinator at Texas at one time. So they're building something there that looks pretty good.
Coach, you mentioned before how after a loss, right after, it's always you're on 10. It's kind of the raw version of what you think. Well, you've had 3 days to kind of assess that loss. What's the temperature in the locker room 3 days after and going into this game week?
The temperature in the locker room. Um, well, we had a good practice yesterday. Um, we don't see them on Sunday. It's their day off. So we had a good practice yesterday. I will tell you, that Rice loss was a really disappointing loss because I think that the 2 weeks before that we were showing significant improvement, and I think that we took a step backwards at Rice. Um, um, right now, I would say the locker room's a tough spot right now. Um, we have so many injuries; it's unbelievable. Like, I mean, honestly, we have. It's been mind numbing. And I looked at practice yesterday, and there were guys that were not dressed that I didn't even know were hurt. So, this will be very much like the Tulsa game, a little bit different situation as far as why we're down as many players as we're down. But I think as I was counting through this morning, preparing for this, and don't quote me, well, you're going to quote me, but I think we're going to be down almost 10 starters for this game. We've just had a lot of injuries. And um, and so uh, and so like it's hard. It's hard because like we're asking guys that don't play a lot of reps to play a lot of reps, and we're asking guys in positions where you don't want guys to play a lot of reps. In other words, you want you want to roll guys. We don't have the ability to do that. So on the defensive line, like guys are going to play. You don't want defensive linemen to play 70 reps, right? But they're going to this week, and like our corners and stuff, Donnie Balfour and those guys. I mean, they're playing like 70, 80 reps. We just are. We're banged up on the offensive line. We lost another offensive lineman in the game against Rice, and so we've got some walk-ons playing and some young guys playing, and the interesting thing is we really haven't gotten anybody back. The guys that were hurt, we haven't gotten back. The injuries were more severe than we had hoped.
Hunter, I will make a note that the two deep or the depth chart in your game notes for Charlotte is from last week. It has not been updated yet. Go ahead, Hunter.
Gotcha. And to just build off this, I kind of want to open up to all three of you. You said there's a lot of people that are going to play a lot of reps, maybe some people that haven't played much this year. Is this last game like a tryout almost for people trying to make a statement and maybe not make this team for next year, but take a step in that direction?
Well, every game's a tryout, right? Every day at practice is an audition. Every game is a tryout, for sure. And we will make personnel decisions, as every school will after the season. But yeah, this will play into it for sure. So for a lot of these guys that haven't had a chance, great opportunity. This could be like a Hassan Wilson redux for a lot of guys. And then for guys that that just aren't meeting the challenge, there will be consequences for that too, right?
Okay.
This is actually for all three. I know, like, when I asked on Saturday, about the rallying cry for this final game, obviously you want motivation to be intrinsically motivated, but is there an added sense of motivation knowing that, with USF being a conference foe, you can knock them out of bowl contention with a win?
Yeah, good question. To be honest, on offense, we talked about playing to our standard and challenging the guys to play a complete game, focus on getting better, and using this opportunity to springboard and be a catalyst going into 2024. And the guys are excited. Good look in their eye yesterday, a good practice, like Coach said, and it's a next man up mentality. And we're excited in what we're building and very confident in the future and where we're heading. And, the next opportunity is today's practice, and that's what we're focused on is Tuesday, having a great Tuesday in preparation for USF.
Yeah, yesterday I started the meeting by thanking all the defensive guys for the effort and energy that they've given me as the coordinator. And then we talked about life and how life is not fair and how you can't control a lot of things, but the only thing we can control in this room, the men in this room, was the effort and energy that we're going to continue, to put in our preparation, and that's what we'll do on Saturday. And to follow up with what Hunter asked, I think what's important is, Biff alluded to this, but when you're on a team, you should want to be the best on that team. You should strive to be the best. And this game is too hard to go to a place and not play. And those decisions will be made. And I think what's really important is if we're putting the guy on the field, I think the guy's good enough to do the job. Because if not, I wouldn't put him on the field.
Oh, tell me the question again. That's not really, for me, that's not an issue. I mean, that's for them. What I'm concerned about is us playing our best football. And I'm concerned about winning the game. It wouldn't matter to me if they were undefeated or, playing for a national championship or they were, a win away from a bowl eligibility. I mean, all I care about is winning the game and playing to our best. That's my. And if you need extra motivation to get ready for a college football game, a league game, then you probably need to examine whether you're in the right deal or not.
Going off of Cam's question a little bit, not so much about you guys trying to knock them out of bowl eligibility, but they're going into that game with that added sense of we need to get this win. How do you match that intensity? Because you mentioned last week how at this point you're playing for pride.
Well, it is. We talked about it to them yesterday. We're playing for one thing. It's a league game. We're in a league. We want to win league games. And if you don't have the personal pride to want to win that game, if you're just looking to play out the string, then we don't want you back, and we'll find guys that'll sit in that seat. But I would be very surprised if that's what's happening downstairs. We want to win the game. I mean, it would be a great win for us, and that's. I mean, really, honestly, that's. I know that sounds like coach speak, but I think this year, that I feel that I've tried never to give you that. We are just focusing on winning a league game, and if you can't get your head around that, then I've made a terrible mistake keeping you on the roster this year.
For Coach Osborne, kind of pivoting to the defense, can you just talk about the threats of Sean Atkins and Byron Brown and what you see on as a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, USF Terry. He missed about 4 of the guys. Let's talk about Byron Brown, finalist for Mr. Charlotte. Charlotte Player of the Year. Wasn't recruited by Charlotte. Craziest thing how many good players in our conference are from this region and aren't here. You know, this kid's a stud. This kid will be just like Pratt and Hennigan in 2 years. Just wait. This kid's dynamic. He really is. I mean, great football player from 2 hours north. We got to go 2 hours south to play him. It's the craziest thing. Very dynamic. Beat you with his feet. Can throw the ball really well. Obviously, they average the most plays in college football. You talk about the tale of different tempos. We just played the slowest in college football, basically. You know, the second slowest. And now we're playing like the second fastest, you know. So, you know, the test will be, and I told the defense yesterday, the only chance we got is we limit points. I don't care about yards. They're going to get their yards. We got to limit points, you know. And I gave them a number. I told them if we hit that number, we'll win the game. So, let you know Saturday night if we hit that number.
Similar question for Coach Miller. What kind of challenges do they present defensively? I mean, obviously they played in some high-scoring games, but how do you guys get the ball rolling, kind of bounce back from last Saturday?
Yeah, got a lot of respect for Todd Orlando. Good coach. He don't probably remember this at all, but when I was a student coach at Clemson, we went and met with Houston in 2015. And the off season, I sat in on his meetings so that I could kind of learn, you know, how defenses are now attacking and stopping offenses. And he does a great job of mixing up the looks and goes in and out of multiple fronts and gives you different pictures of split safety and middle field closed. And guys play hard. Obviously, they're used to playing against a lot of tempo, going fast, you know. And so, I feel like we got a good plan for so far. We're on normal down and distance stuff, but we got a good plan, know what we want to do, know how we want to attack them. And the challenge is to start fast, you know, and finish strong. And that obviously has a huge impact in the game, how we start and how we finish. And, just the winning the turnover margin, very important, generating explosive plays and doing your job. I mean, that's what it comes down to, make plays. You know, go back and watch the Rice tape. And too many times guys are not doing their job, not making plays, or, you know, not blocking on the perimeter or dropping balls or, you know, making the wrong read, pressing the wrong block, whatever it may be. The challenge is to get consistency in our performance. And that's what this week's about, taking the next step as an offense and come back and finish on the right note and lead into 2024.
For Coach Biff, you, I guess, put on Twitter ahead of the Rice game, or X, whatever the app was called, inviting Jim Harbaugh to the game. What kind of went into that, and do you expect him in Tampa this weekend?
Well, what went into it is I didn't want him to be lonely on Saturdays. I don't think, you know, so, and I did speak to him. He actually reached out and said, hey, I would love to come and would be honored, but the suspension allows me to be with the team, but just not on the field. So he traveled with them, and then he stays, I guess, in a hotel and watches a game. So it was impossible to do logistically, but he was thankful and would have done it had he could.
This is for the three of you, and you guys have kind of all talked about this, but you know this is the last one. Obviously, the season didn't go exactly how you wanted. What is it, like, whether it be one thing or as a whole, that you want to see from your respective units and then your whole team Saturday, whether it's effort?
I'll let the units go, and then I'll do the whole team.
I want to win on Saturday.
Mike?
Win.
I want to see effort, enthusiasm, toughness, hard play, relentless play, and a win.
Mike?
I'm not answering your question. You broke the union bylaw for being late.
I'll pay my fine. Kind of off of Hunter's question, not necessarily what you're looking for on Saturday, but as you look back, I mean, there's going to be missed opportunities offensively, defensively that you guys are going to bemoan. But what's
the one thing you guys are focusing on, looking to clean up in your respective units and the overall team as you look ahead to 24?
Yeah, we have some holes we have to fill. I've already alluded to that in a press conference a couple weeks ago. We don't have to raise the ceiling, we have to raise the floor. That's how this program gets better. And I think we got a bunch defense for 2024. I've been doing this for the last 5 weeks. We got a great core nucleus of guys coming back. We got to fit them with pieces to make the best puzzle we can. You know, if we do that, we're going to have a really, really good defense in 2024, which ultimately will lead to wins.
Offensively, I think Oz said it best. It's we got to raise the floor, and we're excited. You know that the last, I don't know, since probably the bye week. You know, we've been meeting weekly as a staff and planning for what guys, the core group of guys that are coming back that we know we can build around them, and they're the right kind of kids, the right makeup. Character and the talent, and you know, going and surrounding them with good players, but most importantly, good character. You know, if you're an offensive tackle about to go in the portal, this is a great place to come. You're going to get developed and coached, learn a system that's going to prepare you for the NFL or pro ball, and obviously life after football with Biff. You cannot beat, in my opinion, in college football with his connections and his philosophy as a head coach. And then, you know, you're coming in to replace two guys that have given us everything they've had with Lucas and Jasper. And, you know, that would be good to be able to bring some guys in there at that position. And, you know, can't say enough about Johnny King. Great kid. And, you know, he's going to be the leader of the offensive line coming back. And the tight ends are doing a phenomenal job. And, you know, be able to bring some depth at other positions and put the right group of guys out there that really raise our standard of play on offense and ultimately lead to wins and success.
Ask me one more time.
As you look ahead to 24,
Right.
the areas you want to try to address for improvement for next season. On and off the field.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have. We're already well into recruiting, and we really like our freshman class. It's, I think, 3 or 4 in the league, ranked in the league. We really like the freshman class. But the reality is that with the portal and has changed the game greatly, you have to play in the portal, right? You have to be a player in the portal and a transfer space. So we have identified 3 areas of need on the offense and areas of need on the defense. And we have we're well along in recruiting some unbelievably good players. Now we got to get them, but you know, recruiting is all about relationships, and we're deep into that. And at the end of December, when can we announce people?
Signing day is
20th.
Of December.
20th. Yep.
We'll have some really exciting news, I think, on that. And then, you know, first year head coach, I've learned a lot of things that I wouldn't do again. Mistakes I've made. And the nice thing about being old is that you, to get to my age, you have to recognize mistakes and then not commit them again. Because if you do, you won't make it to this age. So I'm pretty good at recognizing mistakes and then trying to fix them. And I think there are 3 areas that I really I think will really improve the team from what I need to do from my standpoint. And we will begin that you know, Saturday, Sunday at 2:30 when we have a staff meeting, and player exit meetings and those things. Look, I am really encouraged by parts of the season. Disappointed in parts of the season, but not discouraged at all. We have a chance to do something really special here, and we've shown flashes of it this year, and we'll the proof's in the pudding. But I'm optimistic, and I'll say this and end with this: as much as we love coaches and being a coach, players win. And Jackie Sherrill taught me this a zillion years ago. Coaches don't win games, players do. And so we got to really improve the roster, and we're working on that.
Another one? Go ahead.
For you specifically, Ben, has this first year been what you thought it would be in your shoes? Has it been more difficult? Has it been more challenging than you anticipated?
It has been not what I thought. You know, some you know, I don't like doing Band-Aids, okay? I don't, whenever I've gone into a program that has been not functioning well, which has been all of my coaching career, I've never gone into a program that was killing it. I always went into something that was messed up. There's Band-Aids, and then there's like brain surgery, and I'm a believer in brain surgery. This year, I wanted to try to do a quick fix, and when I got here and got rolling, there's a lot of things that that Band-Aids won't fix. So we have to overhaul a lot of the systems, a lot of the processes, a lot of the units. Look, we're playing in the American Conference. It's big-time football. You can't do things the way you did them 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And that goes for every part of the program, starting with me, right? But it goes through, nutrition. It goes through budgeting. It goes through what are the guys downstairs called? The training room. It goes through every aspect of how we eat, where we eat, what we eat, how we diagnose health issues, injuries. How long does it take to get that diagnostic test done? How are we treating and rehabbing guys? How are we prehabbing guys? All these things are really, really critical. How are we raising money? What's our budget? All these things really matter. People don't like to talk about them. And you can just kind of, put a Band-Aid on them, or you can go in and really do surgery on them. And I have seen what I need to see now. The triage is over. This first year triage is over. I have examined the patient, and I know where the surgery needs to be and what the surgery needs to be done. And we're going to do it, and it'll either get done or we won't have the results we want. And so my job as the head football coach is to break a few windows, kind of pull and push and prod and make folks a little uncomfortable so we can get to where we all want to be, which is happy on Saturday afternoons and very, very, very comfortable. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of, again, triage on the patient, and then, put the anesthesia in and lets everybody put their egos aside and let's get the patient better.
Do we have any other questions? No? No? Well, thank you, everybody. Our next press conference will be December 20th when we do one for signing day. There may be a press